What's up everyone, Max Tech Toy Box here doing an unboxing and intro review of the Misfit Vapor X. So this is running Wear OS by Google, of course. Has the Snapdragon Wear 3100 processor, which is the newer chip, but it only has a half a gigabyte of RAM, so not the greatest. I think with the Fossil Gen 5 that had the 1 full gigabyte of RAM with the Wear 3100, which I think is a better combination. The My Boy TicWatch Pro also had the 1 gigabyte of RAM with the Snapdragon 3100 processor as well. Let's see, of course it has your standard sensors. You got untethered GPS, gyroscope, heart rate monitor, microphone, NFC, altimeter, ambient light, accelerometer. Of course on the back here you have the heart rate monitor. And then because this does run Wear OS, you do have the ability to connect this to a Bluetooth heart rate monitor. Okay, so first of all, of course, this is the gunmetal color that I got here. Let me see what the specific name is here, if it has it on the box. Yeah, so it's just gunmetal with green bands, and this is a 42 millimeter watch, and these are standard 20 millimeter watch bands that you can use to connect. So I'm gonna put this through the paces and let you guys know what I think. Hold on. Alrighty guys, so I'm back. So I've been using the Misfit Vapor X for a little time now, and I'm ready to give you guys my thoughts on it. Okay, so first off, before I go into the review, like I always do, just look at the design aspect. I do think this is a nice looking watch. Personally, it's 42 millimeter case. I think it's like a 1.39 inch touch OLED display. The way that your finger sort of glosses over the top is nice. It feels really nice and refined in terms of just the feel hardware wise. Okay, you can use 20 millimeter standard 20 millimeter watch band straps for this. Pretty easy to come on and come off. Put that back on. Okay, you see the optically based heart rate monitor on the back, 2 sensors. You have your back button here, just like with pretty much all Wear OS buttons. This is your back button, and also it launches your menu for applications. Then you have your 2 quick launch toggles. So this is for my Google Fit, and I press that one. And then, give me a second. All right, so you can start a workout, or you go here and press it to launch Google Pay, which I don't have set up. Okay, so that's pretty much the aesthetics of it all. And you do have this, because I do have a black background, you can't see it as much, but if I scroll over to like another, I guess you guys can sort of see it there. You have that black ring that's around the outside there. Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk about pros and cons of the device. Okay, so pros, it's Wear OS. I know that I've lamented and bragged a lot about Wear OS, but it's sort of grown on me. It's a decent operating system for a smartwatch. It does the things that you want, right? So because of Wear OS, you get the Google Assistant, so you get text to speech. Of course, you get the Google searches. You can control your Google Home, so you can tell to turn on and turn off devices because it's Google, the Google Assistant on your wrist, right? Also, because it's Wear OS, you get Google Fit, so you get good fitness tracking. It has built-in GPS. You have a whole slew of different workouts that you can launch and that you have the ability to launch directly from your wrist, like weightlifting, kayaking, canoeing, yoga, things of that nature. So very robust fitness tracking system, which I do appreciate because of Google Fit. Let's see what else. Also, because it's Wear OS, you do have on-device music playback. So with Google Play Music, you can sign on and then download a whole bunch of, it's not charging anything, but I'm just using that to dock it. So let me go ahead and show you guys. If I had Google Play Music here, and then you can use this to navigate as well. You guys have seen a bunch of my Wear OS reviews in general, but you can launch Google Play Music, and then all of your music you now have access to. You can download them directly onto the device and play them back. Also, I know that I've sort of ragged on Wear OS because of the lack of sleep tracking, but through Sleep as Android, you actually do get sleep tracking directly from the device. The application itself it looks a little complicated, okay? However, it's very simple when you launch it from the phone. So you can actually have it set up so that it can automatically detect sleep when you're wearing your watch to sleep, so that it will detect your heart rate and things of that nature while you're sleeping. And then when you wake up, it will go ahead and disconnect, and you can save that sleep tracking session. Okay, so again, Wear OS itself does not have sleep tracking, but you do get sleep tracking with Sleep as Android. Okay, let's see. Also, like I said, another plus is the universal 20mm watch straps. So now, if you guys don't want to listen to me rant, I suggest you go ahead and end the video right here. I tried my best. This is 4 minutes of me just complimenting this watch essentially. Now I'm gonna go into all of the cons. Well, okay, let me go back. Another good thing is because it is Google Fit, you do have the ability to connect a chest strap heart rate monitor to it, so you get more efficient or more accurate fitness tracking details, because you can have a Bluetooth heart rate monitor connected to this for your workouts. So kudos to Google for allowing that to work. Okay, so now going on to things I don't like. Heart rate monitor itself is not that accurate, pretty self-explanatory, and horrible battery life. So the battery life on this is just horrendous. That was sort of my qualms with the Misfit Vapor 2. Pretty much almost every Wear OS watch, the battery life is just bad. The My Boy TicWatch 4G LTE, yes, it's a mouthful, is the best Android Wear device, I believe, and that's because of its use of that secondary panel or screen, so that way it's not such a hit on the battery life. I didn't even have the always on display on this, and it still just guzzled through battery. I could barely get a day, especially if I was working out with this watch. So that's just bad. So now the most important thing to me is it's laggy. You guys saw throughout this entire video, I went to launch Google Play Music and how long it took for Google Play Music to open up. Sometimes I turn on the watch and it's between watch faces. Like, I have no idea what Misfit was thinking with releasing this watch. So with my personal experience with using Wear OS watches, it's not so much the Snapdragon 3100 chip versus the 2100 Wear chip. I don't really think there's that big of a difference. And I think when you actually look at the details, it's supposed to be better for battery life, okay? But in terms of performance, I don't think that those chips have anything to do with how laggy Wear OS is. I think that Wear OS is just a memory managing, it's a hoarder for memory essentially. So this has 512 megabytes of storage. When I use the Fossil Generation 5 and also the My Boy TicWatch 4G LTE with that 1 GB of RAM, and it just updated, I guess, to show me my more accurate stats, whatever. It was super speedy, next to no lag at all, and it was such a huge difference for me because of all my Wear OS watches had just been so laggy. You guys saw me open up apps on this, and it's just super slow. It's ridiculous. It does not respond to touch commands as accurate as it should. Voice commands, it doesn't respond as quickly. Almost anything you can think of, it's super laggy. Every application I use in this is laggy. The gesture, the tilt to wake gesture is laggy. Let's see if I can get it. Okay, well now it's loading up fast. But it's also, I guess, because I'm holding this wrist. So let's see if I was to put it on my wrist, if it would also be as accurate. Like I said, for me personally, it's been slow tilt to wake up. It wakes up in between screens on the watch face sometimes when I go to wake it up. Slow to respond to direct commands. Okay, so that's me going slow. So let's just see. Yeah, well here it's making it look like it's not that bad. It's still delayed, but in comparison to other watches that I've used, it's definitely slower. I mean, even the Let's Fit watch that I reviewed was faster than this, and that was $45. This was $179 on sale. Okay, Google Play Music on this thing is a hot mess. Still, I think that Google needs to have better implementation of a direct music playback, especially on their Wear OS platform. But I just think that using less than a gigabyte of RAM with Wear OS is going to deter pretty much everybody from using any sort of Wear OS device. It needs to have a gigabyte of RAM at least, okay, in 2019 and going forward. Yeah, I'm not going to rant on that too much more. I mean, I guess it sort of is what it is. And it's unfortunate because this is a nice looking watch. And I do think, Misfit is owned by Fossil. So if they would have just given all of the watches a gigabyte of RAM, then you wouldn't hear me complain, because I really did think that the Fossil Generation 5 was a great watch. It's just the battery life sucked. So, I mean, they could have just used their efforts to make better battery life. There is an extended battery life mode sort of built in here. So you see it takes forever. It's like this right here. Oops. Sorry. So let's see if I can get it back on. And this is supposed to be extended battery life there. So turn on battery saver, which really didn't do much of anything. Okay. So I think that, like I said, their efforts could have been, it would have just been better if this watch would have had a gigabyte of RAM. So anybody that uses this watch is going to think that Wear OS is super laggy and it's sort of a BS operating system, and it really isn't when used on the correct device and with the correct hardware, which I guess is what people thought originally with Android maybe. But I mean, this, like I said, was $179 on sale. Right now you can get the Fossil Generation 5 for like $184. So I implore anybody that's watching this review, if they still have it because it's around Black Friday sales, you should go and buy the Fossil Generation 5 at that price point if that's what you want. The battery life on that is still suspect. It's not the greatest, but it does have that quick charger, all right, so it charges things faster, but at least you'll get just better performance overall. So I'm not going to harp on it too much more. This is Max Tech Toy Box. Hope you guys did enjoy the video review. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. I hope you guys don't think that I'm really against Misfit, because I really did like the original Misfit, but the battery life sucked. The Misfit Vapor X was just super laggy. This is the Misfit Vapor 2. I wish that they could have just done better given that gigabyte of RAM, but they didn't, so it is what it is. Misfit, if you guys are watching this video, I need you to be better next time.